So I've spent the last 2 years trying to keep an eye on District 1 Supervisor Crye, hoping he'd eventually do right by Shasta County. But time and time again, he's proven himself to be unworthy, hypocritical, and petty. Take, for example, his recent vote to investigate the DA letter just to make Supervisor Rickard look bad, and even suggesting her opponent use it in an advertisement. It's not just inappropriate, it's an abuse of power. Today, he questioned the travel expenses of supervisors in their final year, implying they were up to no good. Now, this baseless accusation is an example of his pettiness, as it was clearly retribution towards Supervisor Garman for simply doing his job. If supervisors cannot do official business in their final year, why should they even be allowed to vote? Chair Crye made derogatory remarks about audience members, including myself. He essentially called me a child seeking attention, which, to be honest, couldn't be farther from the truth. I'd much rather prefer to be out of the public light, but I'm driven by a sense of justice, something Mr. Crye claims to share but clearly doesn't practice. Mr. Crye failed to keep his word about appointing Garman's pick for the Elections Commission. He lied to his constituents and showed a complete lack of integrity. My wife went to a coffee meeting last Friday where she heard him say he didn't care about public approval and would stand by his word, only to turn around and do the exact opposite. And it's quite ironic, considering he accused Tim Garman of not being intelligent and caving to public pressure, when it was in fact Mr. Crye who compromised his principles. We all know it. It's sad. It's pathetic. He boasted about taking advantage of group projects in school by doing the least amount of work and taking the most credit. He bragged about essentially cheating in a flag football game, which is a perfect analogy for his tenure as supervisor. His history of misleading others and exploiting systems reflects his current approach to politics. Now, I have proof that Mr. Crye has lied today about not caring about seeing election signatures. This is evidenced by text messages from our loose-lipped supervisor, Chris Kelstrom, sent to a community member. The first message reads, "We are coming back into session now. Kevin is interested in how he goes about filing to get a look at those signatures." Another message says, "Kevin would like your paperwork on the process to see on getting to see your recall signatures. You gave me a paper, but I think you said keep it confidential, so I wouldn't share anything without your permission." These texts clearly show that Mr. Crye has been actively trying to manipulate processes and deceive his constituents. We don't need leaders like him. We need people of integrity like Tim Garman. It's time for us to stand up against this disgraceful behavior and demand better leadership from our county.